Speaking about business bites here on Now, and joining us this morning to speak about quick KYC, and we'll find out exactly what that is from our next guest, Louis Kinley, who's the co-founder of QKYC by Caripay. Good morning, Louis.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Thank you for
Thank you
joining
so
us
much
this
for having
morning.
me.
Now, in a world where so many things are moving online and the need to not do things in person, stay indoors as much as possible, and even business has shifted online in many spheres, the need for things to transition may not have been so smooth for many enterprises. Tell us how quick KYC solves that problem.
Yeah, so thank you again for the question. We really help businesses move their customer engagement all digital, so you can verify who your customers are without them having to come in, collect all the documents you need to actually complete that transaction, open that account, whatever it is that you need to do.
Now, that may have some people a little bit worried because, there are people online who sometimes fish for information. They may be able to access your credit card information and other things that are related to your identity. How does Caripay, with the quick KYC program, how does it protect users, individuals, businesses from such things?
Yeah, absolutely. We are right now undergoing the process of a SOC 2 audit, which is an internationally recognized standard for data security and a lot of things around that. So that's the first way. And the second is really giving a common portal for that so that folks aren't sending that stuff on WhatsApp. They're not sending it on Facebook or across email where it's a lot more likely to get lost or picked up. And we also just offer a couple extra tools for our clients to verify who their customers are and that they're actually talking with the person they think they're talking with rather than somebody who might have, picked up a photo of your driver's permit somewhere.
Right. So let's speak about some of the services that you offer and some of the types of clients that you have. So
Yeah,
first off, with
so
what type of service you offer?
yeah, a lot of stuff around digitization. So OCR, of course, to lift data off of documents and a bunch of things around that to be able to pick up checkboxes and signatures and pretty much everything you would find on a paper form, of course, because a lot of folks are still dealing with a lot of paper. And we see it across the insurance industry where some agents are, you know, they've been in the game for a while and they're not really looking to switch it up and start using an app or start using their computer. So they're just going to keep doing things on paper, and that's okay. Like we have to be able to work with that. So that's been a big focus for us is how do we help folks make some of that transition. And primarily our clients right now are in insurance, working with some in the financial services space as well.
All right. And of course, these are things that require a lot of data collection and stuff. But, what are some of the dangers of data collection that we can talk about?
Yeah, there are a lot, right? If you don't store things well, we see it all the time. Even some of the biggest firms in the world are suffering from data breaches. So that's one thing that we really take seriously. Myself as a technologist, privacy is something I care a lot about. And we've really put in a lot of time to making sure that we comply with all the international best practices and we can pass our audit and that we can prove to our clients and to their users that we actually keep their data safe. And we really do that. You find a lot of companies that don't have as much experience in this. They aren't really sure of what are some of the safeguards you need to put in place from a policy perspective, because oftentimes the technology is actually the easy part. So it comes down to what are your internal employees doing? If we look back to some of the bigger breaches, we would see it was actually employees that had improper access that end up leaking a big data set that loses millions of people's IDs. So we never want to be one of those, and we really restrict what our people can do so that we restrict the possibility of anything like that happening.
Well, let's speak about how a service like yours would help to improve the customer service experience.
Yeah, well, imagine instead of having to go stand up in line to deal with your account, you can sit there and do that on your smartphone at home. Uh, the extra benefit of that, of course, is that sometimes you show up and you don't realize that your utility bill is more than 3 months old. You grabbed an old one and you didn't even check that date before you showed up. So if you're sitting at home, you have the time to go and find whatever you have to find to just get through the process one time rather than having to go wait up in line and then be told that you don't have the right stuff.
Right. So when it comes to that, especially for more mature individuals and the elderly, um, there may be a lack of the savvy when it comes to technology and apps and all these devices and such. Does your service seek to address that?
Yeah, it does. We have a few different ways that people can go through the process, and we've really designed it. We've sat down with folks from across the spectrum to figure out what makes this as easy as possible for everyone to use. And I think if we even look at, most of the folks in those categories that aren't as comfortable with their phones, they're still using WhatsApp to talk with their kids, their families. So they're familiar with using the device, but they don't want to go through downloading an app. They don't want to do any of that. So we make it really easy for clients to just make it, a few taps, nice big buttons that are just clear what you need to do. So there's no questions and there's not a lot of opportunity for confusion.
And let's speak about fraud now. How does your service, how does Caripay, with quick KYC, seek to, eliminate the instance and possibility of fraud?
Yeah. So there are a few different ways that fraud happens, obviously, but some of the bigger ones is really just walking in with, forged documents, fake documents, and opening a bunch of accounts across different businesses over a short period of time so they can do what they had to do before they get detected. So with what we're working on, we can detect that type of activity a bit sooner. We can detect if somebody's trying to sign up for multiple things same day or whatever. Uh, that's obviously a big one. And then really, again, removing that data storage from being, on like agents' devices or on personal computers at home.
Right.
That, if it is that your insurance company is just taking a copy of your ID to do what they have to do, but you've shared that with a few people, now there might be a few more folks that could actually act as if they were you. So we want to cut down on how many places, you've had to share that and have that stuff stored.
I guess that's a greater, another layer of protection and security there. And before we go, I want to ask you quickly about, adopting blockchain.
Yeah, that's a thing. The Caribbean is really making a lot of strides there. We see up the islands a little bit, some countries going all in and, across the economy. Uh, Trinidad is still working on some of the frameworks around that, which we're excited to see the progress there and
Right.
optimistic that that's going to come to fruition soon.
And all right, and with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Quickly, how do we get more information if we needed to get more on quick KYC?
Yeah, getqkyc.com.
qkyc.com. Nice, short, and sweet. All right, with that, I want to thank you so much, Louis Kinley, for joining us this morning. Louis Kinley is the co-founder of QKYC by Caripay. Again, you could check qkyc.com to get more information on that and how you can get a little more savvy and a little more protection when it comes to fintech and so many other things when it comes to the digitization process, as is much needed right now.